I've always collected records. My dad was a big collector. He kind of got rid of a lot of his stuff, you know. But yeah, I've always sort of collected, really. Even when CDs were kind of coming in, there was me and a few other guys that would buy records most weekends. We'd go and try and, you know, find stuff. But back in those days, it was a lot cheaper, you know, and everyone's going up now. But it used to be a lot easier to get hold of good, you know, really good stuff for pennies because it wasn't selling really, you know. I've picked up some good records for very little money, but those days are kind of gone a wee bit. But I can't think of. There's a few things like I used to get like Nuggets albums, like the compilations that I would have sort of 60s psychedelic stuff on it. Used to be able to pick those up for quite cheap. I've got a couple of I've got a single which is quite hard to find by the Sassenachs, which is they were sort of B group from the 60s. I got that for about £5, and I think it's worth a wee bit more. It's not worth loads, but it's worth a bit more than that. But yeah, in terms of albums, I used to get stuff for quite cheap. You know, Neil Young things used to be able to get up for quite cheap, but now they've kind of gone up as well a wee bit. But yeah, things like that. There's been a lot of bargains, you know, that I've managed to get hold of. A few years ago, I got hold of Ogden's Not Gone Flake by the Small Faces. That was the first press of that, and I think that I probably got that for a lot cheaper than it was going for. But that was a mate of mine that sold it to me, you know. But yeah, that was quite an expensive album, but I got it for quite a bit less, you know. I officially started Almond River Records in 2020. I set up on Christmas Eve because I knew it was a day that I'd remember when I set up. So I set up on Christmas Eve 2020, and it was just online. So what I'd done was I'd started out with like a small batch of records that weren't mine. I'd bought some records, and then I was sort of selling them. I'm not making much profit, but with the profit I made, I bought more records, and I just kept doing it. I started kind of curating stuff that was going in, basically. So I was trying to find stuff that was good, and stuff that I enjoyed, and stuff that was good quality, you know, not kind of scratched and all that. So it just was an online thing, and it started out just kind of going, you know, the first few months was pretty, you know, I got a few sales, but then it was like drop off, and then it'd be busy again, and it'd drop off. Then my friend who actually owns this building got in touch with me last year, and said, would you be interested in moving into this space in Corstorphine? And at first I was kind of, you know, I was slightly freaked out because I didn't think I'd have enough stock. Didn't know if I was going to be able to afford to do it. But I took it on. I just thought, why not? Took it on, and yeah, it's been going really well. We've had loads of collections coming in, and you know, people seem to be supporting it, which is great. You know, we're getting a lot of people, kind of regulars, coming in now. So having an actual physical shop has been brilliant, and hopefully, you know, it'll stay like that, you know, for a while. I've seen it building up over the last kind of, I'd say, sort of 5 years. I've seen it really build up, because there was a point in time where, you know, no one was really that interested. You know, it was just collectors. But yeah, it's definitely building up. You know, there's like youngsters are getting into it again, which is great. And there's a lot more, you know, if you go to a fair, there's a lot more people there, you know, than there used to be. And there's people of all different ages now, which is great to see. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely come back, you know, quite massively, which is brilliant, which is a great thing. I mean, we are definitely selling CDs, like nowhere near as many records as we sell. But I think the thing is with the records, buying a record, I think it's definitely, as kind of cliched as it sounds, it's definitely a bit more of an experience, because you've got bigger artwork. To me, it sounds better, and you can kind of sit down. You know, you've not got the option to skip stuff. you know, and all that kind of thing, which is a massive thing with CDs. You know, you can go, I don't like that, but with a record, you might not like it first, and then you listen to it 5 times, and you're like, oh, I love that song that I didn't like at first, and things. So I don't know is the short answer, but I think that there's definitely trends and fashions and things kind of move on, and you know, even cassettes. I've sold a few, you know, like cassettes to people, and I thought those were completely dead in the water. But I can't see the CD thing happening for a while. I think the record thing is taking off so much at the moment. It will bottom out eventually, but I don't know when. I don't know when it'll happen. But I get a lot of people kind of coming in off the street because we've got a huge sign up on the front saying records wanted. So that's kind of the way we're doing it at the moment. But yeah, I mean, basically, if they contact me, then I can kind of get in touch, and we can either drive out and see them, because obviously sometimes people have got so many records that it's really hard for them to kind of get in and, you know, bring them all in with them. So that's what we do really. But we're getting a lot of people just walking in now with bags of stuff. But yeah, hopefully, you know, the problem is you've got to keep these collections coming in, because if you don't, you just got the same stock all the time. And that's the only kind of slight problem with second-hand record dealing, you know. If you don't have things kind of continuously changing, you'll know about it quite quickly. So we're trying to get collections in all the time. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm getting a van, hopefully this summer, if I can, you know, afford it. And I'm going to start taking the van over some weekends to, you know, maybe up north or down to the Lake District, places like that. And I'm going to take some records from here down with me, and then advertise. And you know, you never know, people might have stuff in their attic that's worth loads of money, or you know, might be of interest. So that's kind of the next thing I'm looking into. Well, that's it. We've got a first press and Master of Puppets on Metallica. They were a big band for me growing up, but yeah, they're getting harder to find now, so there's a bit of a price tag on that one. But yeah, Metallica. What else have we got? Television, who are a great band. I think that's their second album, after Marquee Moon, which is one of my favourite albums, but that's a great album. What else have we got here? And these are these compilations you can get like the Pebbles and Nuggets ones. They're always great. That's sort of all the sort of psych stuff from the 60s. So we've got a few of those, and those are always really good to get hold of. What else have we got here? Johnny Thunders, pink vinyl, but yeah, Johnny Thunders another great guy. But yeah, so we've got like all these sort of different things coming in. Bit of reggae, which I picked up in Brixton last week. I was down in London, so I picked that up. Yeah, all sorts of things. George Clinton, things like that. So yeah, there's plenty in at the minute. What's going to happen is I'm going to refit the shop for a start, because we thought originally we were going to just be in for 6 months. We didn't know how long we kind of had in here, so it was all a bit like we kind of sort of flung everything in as quickly as we could. So I'm going to refit it. I'm going to get the lighting changed and all that kind of thing. I've also got I'm offering a record cleaning service from tomorrow. So I've got a machine which I've been sort of putting money aside for. So I've got a machine so people can kind of come down and get their records cleaned, and you get like an anti-static sleeve in for the records and things. Hopefully you're gonna get a van and all this kind of thing. But yeah, we're just taking it kind of slowly and just seeing what happens really. I mean, at the moment it's just kind of every day you're just seeing what's happening, and we've done a lot better than we thought we were going to, which is great news. But you know, I don't want to kind of push it, and you know, I just want to make sure that I'm keeping good stock in, and you know, keeping it interesting for people, and yeah, hopefully it'll keep going and going and going. But you know, you just don't know with these things. It's so precarious out there at the moment.